Any questions or okay. Next on the list, Sherry Morgan.
Sherry Morgan, 1712 Penwood, Knoxville, 37922. Thank you for giving us this historic opportunity to speak, and thank you for recognizing that we are more than a pocket of dissatisfaction, as some people would have you and the citizens of Knox County believe. People have called this a teacher revolt and have called us disgruntled and naysayers. Well, I call this a movement for teachers to reclaim the profession and do what is best for our students. I'm going to give you some history of how we got to this point. It started in Wisconsin in 2011, and I had no idea Tennessee would be the next state attacking public schools and teachers. In 2011, Tennessee teachers saw their bargaining rights replaced by the Professional Educators Collaborative Conferencing Act, and tenure, which was created to ensure due process for educators, was changed. State board policies suggesting the retraction of teachers' licenses based on student test scores was on the horizon. Tying the performance of students on state tests to the salaries of teachers became a reality. A new evaluation system called TEAM, which evaluates teachers based on a rubric that is impossible to master with every lesson, began in the fall. Teachers began evaluating teachers. Many of these teachers were charged with making judgments about the instruction and content knowledge of fellow teachers who teach a subject the evaluators have little or no knowledge. Let me state, teachers do not mind yearly evaluations. We just want to make sure they are fair and equitable. And all of this was in the name of education reform. Is it really education reform or a way for corporations to take over public schools? In 2009, Common Core standards were developed and then released in 2010. Within a few months, Common Core was endorsed by 45 states and the District of Columbia. Publishers and technology companies started aligning materials, curriculum, and software with Common Core. 2 federally funded groups have created online tests for Common Core. We have discovered these testing companies report directly to the federal government with not only student test scores, but also demographical information that most would deem as private. These tests are expensive. They require technology that we do not have and cannot maintain, and most importantly, are not developmentally appropriate for our students. The required amount of testing is overwhelming our youngest students, their parents, and our teachers, and serve to do nothing but waste valuable instruction time. Make no mistake, Common Core will affect the Knox County Schools budget. And all this happened at a time that coincides as public schools are under attack. Common Core standards were written in 2009 with the help from the National Governors Association, the Council of Chief State School Officers, and Achieve. It was developed behind closed doors with 27 people and few educators writing it. However, testing companies were very involved. There have been no field tests. And who funded it? The Gates Foundation has spent nearly $200 million on this endeavor. And what does Mr. Bill Gates stand to gain? Where will the technology come from to implement these tests? Maybe Bill Gates? Many states have now pulled out of Common Core, and I believe only a few states are still involved. And there is no evidence that Common Core will work better, prepare our children for college and the workplace. Bush's No Child Left Behind, or as teachers have called it, No Teacher Left Standing, and Obama's Race to the Top, or as I like to call it, the Dash for the Cash, have combined to impose a punitive regimen of standardized testing. NCLB was passed in 2001 and signed into law in 2002. And this law required schools to test every child in grades 3 through 8 every year. In 2004, this year, every child must be proficient according to the Common Core standards or school will face sanctions. What are those sanctions? Firing the entire staff and closing schools is one example. And this happened a year early in Knox County with Sarah Moore Green and Vine Middle being reconstituted with new leadership and staff members. Such measures are damaging for communities and the morale of teachers. Could it be the plan all along to replace teachers with advanced degrees and years of experience with Teach for America? After all, the value in experience and continued education has been abolished with the removal of years teaching and degrees earned as incentive to earn more money in the field of education. How can anyone support replacing teachers with master's degree and 30-plus years of experience in teaching with so-called educators from the business world who have only 6 weeks of teacher training? Are those the teachers any of us would prefer for our own children? NCLB encouraged teachers to teach to the test, Schools were forced to focus on reading, math, while history, civics, literature, geography, science, and the arts and physical education were left unfunded. And I'm sure you have all heard about the test-related cheating scandals in Atlanta, El Paso, and the District of Columbia. Did it happen in Knox County? Then came Race to the Top. Congress gave the Department of Ed $5 billion to promote the reform. States had agreed to the terms set by the federal government to receive the extra funds, and now look where we are. The terms led to teachers being evaluated according to students' test scores, and many times including students they did not even know or have in class. Privately managed charter schools were to increase. College and career-ready standards had to be adopted. Low-performing schools have the principal and staff fired, and personal identifiable information about every student can be collected and stored in a data warehouse. By accepting these terms, we have created a system that is damaging to the education of our students and the livelihood of our teachers who poured their hearts and souls into teaching the whole child and meeting the emotional and social needs of every child. And Tennessee agreed to these terms under Governor Bredesen, and it has been implemented by Governor Haslam with Commissioner Huffman, a Teach for America alum, making more changes that are even part of the Race to the Top.
Ms. Morgan, if you'll
Yes.
go ahead and wrap it up there, your time has expired.
Okay. That's hard to do, but I'll skip over all the place. As you see, No Child Left Behind, Race to the Top has relied on standardized testing a lot. We do not need Teach for America in Knox County, and I don't think they are right now because these people go through a 6-week program and then teach for 2 years in a high-needs school, then leave, and then go into a more lucrative career. Public education has become a market for testing corporations, charter schools, and online schools and vouchers. Corporations are making money off of it. No other nation in this world has inflicted so many changes and mandates on teachers in public schools. No other nation tests every student every year like we do. No other nation judges the quality of teachers by the test scores of their students. Teachers must have the flexibility to tailor the standards to meet the needs of our students. We must be able to teach what we see is the best way to teach our students and make decisions for our lessons based on our student needs. We must do what is right for our students. And I want to be very clear. Teachers will not compromise our high standards and rigorous expectations for our children. But let's not compromise public education to line the pockets of the corporate world either.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan.